Hello, this is Mike from the Metabolic Weight Loss Program. In this podcast, I will be going over the excessive amounts of sugar that are being added to foods by the food industry. I will also be addressing why it can be so difficult to resist sugar and how it can have such a damaging effect on your weight and health. For most of us, sugar comes into our lives at a very early age. The more we have it, like any addictive substance, the more we want it. Up to the 1950s, sugary and sweet items were thought of as a treat that many would have only once a week. Fast forward over the last 70 years and sugar started to be added more and more to processed food. This has resulted in over 80% of foods that we now eat having an excessive amount of added sugar. It did not take long for the food industry to recognize that the more sugar that it put in foods, the more we get hooked on these foods and we keep coming back for more. As we are becoming more aware of the amount of sugar being added to food, the food industry has counteracted this by using over 60 different names for sugar on food labels. This hides the extent of sugar that is being added to food. For this reason, it can be easy not to realize just how much sugar we are having in our everyday lives. In fact, the average amount of sugar intake per person per day in the UK is a staggering 22 teaspoons. We all know of the high sugar content in cakes, biscuits, cereal, ice cream, and in so many drinks. But sometimes it can be easy not to realize just how high that sugar content can be in our everyday foods. If you like to start your day off with Alpen, as an example, 100 grams is just over 4 teaspoons of sugar. If you love ice cream, just 2 scoops from a 450ml tub of Häagen-Dazs will cost you 5 teaspoons of sugar. If you then go on to eat the whole tub, you will have eaten a further 18 teaspoons of sugar, totaling 23 teaspoons of sugar. A biscuit can easily contain 1 teaspoon of sugar. As most of us know, it's not easy to stop at just one. Once a packet of biscuits is opened, before you know it, the whole packet can easily be finished, setting you back by 15 to 20 teaspoons of sugar quite easily. For those who can't resist a Cadbury's cream egg, you will be eating 6.5 teaspoons of sugar. And that's if you can stop at just 1 egg. There can also be a high amount of sugar in tinned foods. This 400-gram tin of pears contains 11 teaspoons of sugar. Savoury foods can also contain a high amount of sugar. For example, a tin of tomato soup or baked beans can contain almost 5 teaspoons of sugar. A 360-gram jar of Branston pickle contains 28 teaspoons of sugar. Watching a movie and fancy some popcorn? Can you believe that a packet of 170 grams of toffee popcorn can contain 22 teaspoons of sugar? Low-fat foods can surprisingly have a high sugar content, often 6 times more than it if were full fat. 170 grams of low-fat fruit yogurt can contain 7 teaspoons of sugar. Then there is the amount of added sugar in ready-made meals, which can easily contain an average of 8 to 10 teaspoons of sugar in one serving. If that isn't bad enough, a Chinese sweet and sour chicken takeaway for one person can contain up to 16 teaspoons of sugar. Even foods which are marketed as healthy can contain a lot of added sugars. This raises the question, just how healthy are they? Many protein bars contain an average of 5 teaspoons of sugar per bar. Cereal and fruit bars can be found to have a minimum of 4 teaspoons of sugar per bar. 100 grams of granola can contain an average of 5 to 7 teaspoons of sugar, beating the amount of sugar in a jam donut. Do you like smoothies? Some smoothies contain an alarming amount of sugar, typically 6 teaspoons in a 250ml serving. A high amount of sugar is also found in sports drinks. Unbelievably, this bottle of sports drink contains 8.5 teaspoons of sugar. A 330ml can of Coke has 10 teaspoons of sugar. And would you believe that a 250ml can of Red Bull contains 7 teaspoons of sugar? This 550ml bottle of vitamin water contains a staggering 7 teaspoons of sugar, which must outweigh any benefits from the vitamins that have been added to the water. Have you ever considered the full extent of sugar which has been added to the drinks when you go to a high street coffee shop and order a flavoured coffee? A caramel latte can contain, on average, 13 teaspoons of sugar. A hot chocolate can easily have 15 teaspoons of sugar. A frappuccino can set you back by up to 25 teaspoons of sugar. I don't think anyone would be able to cope with putting 25 teaspoons of sugar in a cup of tea or coffee. Do you feel deprived if you don't have sugar? You may feel it is impossible to go a full day without having sugar, let alone a week. Have you ever wondered why this is the case? There is no getting away from it. Refined sugar is a toxic substance which can be highly addictive. One of the reasons for this is dopamine, a feel-good chemical which is produced by the brain. This can give an extreme feeling of pleasure and satisfaction. Apart from it being released when addictive drugs have been taken, it is also released when sugar is eaten. It is becoming more and more evident that too much sugar in our diet is contributing or causing many health issues, in addition to causing one to be overweight or obese. High amounts of sugar produce inflammation, which can make joint pain and arthritis worse. Research is now showing that an excessive amount of sugar can contribute to premature aging and dementia. Research is also showing that eating a diet in high sugar increases the risk of depression or can make depression worse. One of the reasons for this is that sugar can lower the hormone serotonin, your happy hormone. It has been found that there is a direct link between sugar and diabetes. It is no coincidence that as sugar consumption has increased over the last 70 years, so too the occurrence of diabetes has increased. Medical research is recognizing more and more that a high sugar diet causing obesity can increase one's vulnerability to getting certain cancers, or in fact can cause cancer, especially breast, colon, or bowel cancer. If you suffer with headaches or migraines, you may want to think of cutting back on your sugar intake. Too much sugar can directly affect the blood vessels in the brain, resulting in headaches or migraines. Too much sugar on a regular basis can stress your arteries, making them grow thicker and stiffer, which can lead to heart attacks, heart failure, and strokes. It is now known that an excessive amount of sugar can cause adrenaline to be released, resulting in faster heart rate or heart palpitations. We have numerous testimonials showing how our clients' health has improved because of reducing their sugar intake on our metabolic weight loss program. When large amounts of sugar are so readily available, our blood sugar levels are under constant pressure, causing a high increase in blood sugar levels, which is then followed by low blood sugar levels. These low blood sugar levels can trigger uncontrollable cravings for more sugar. Your willpower at this point is non-existent, and you will find it very difficult to stop yourself from giving in to sugar cravings. This additional intake of sugar will again cause the blood sugar levels to go too high and then once again too low, causing further cravings. This pattern can repeat itself day in and day out, leading to despair, weight gain and bad health, along with feeling guilty and feeling ashamed of not being in control of the amount of sugar one has eaten. For many, low blood sugar levels can be an underlying factor of comfort eating, binge eating, secret eating and a sweet tooth. In addition, sugar can cause you to feel irritable, bad-tempered and lacking in energy. As mentioned earlier in this podcast, sugar is toxic. Sugar is everywhere and it is very difficult to escape from and can be highly addictive. Even cigarettes contain added sugar. It is a common practice for cigarette companies to add sugar in the manufacturing of cigarettes to make the smoke easier to inhale. The bottom line is that by having too much sugar in everyday lives, we are putting ourselves at risk of being overweight or obese, while also endangering our physical and mental health. The good news is that something can be done about it. With our metabolic weight loss program and plenty of one-to-one support, we have helped thousands of people get out of the trap of eating a diet too high in sugar, resulting in them losing their weight once and for all and leading healthier lives.